Evening air was thick with excitement, electric with the roar of the crowd. Luke Reynolds stood at the center of the stage, the spotlight bathing him in warmth. His heart raced in sync with the chanting fans, a living testament to his journey as a country music star. Each strum of his guitar resonated with joy, but beneath the surface of fame, a shadow loomed, a gnawing emptiness he rarely acknowledged. As he sang his latest hit, his gaze swept across the sea of faces. Suddenly, it snagged on an elderly woman, her silver hair illuminated by the stage lights. Evelyn Garcia's eyes glistened with tears, and in that moment, the ecstatic hum of the festival faded into a hushed silence. Something about her presence tugged at Luke's heart, pulling him away from the performing persona that shielded him from deeper feelings. He faltered, his fingers losing their rhythm as he stepped away from the microphone. "Excuse me," he whispered, leaving the chorus behind. The crowd continued to sing, oblivious to the shift in energy as he approached her, each step feeling monumental, charged with unnameable urgency. "Are you all right?" he asked softly when he reached her. She looked up with a wistful smile, sadness mingling with recognition. "I remember my Miguel," she replied, her voice a fragile tremor that echoed his own unspoken grief. In that flicker of shared suffering, everything shifted. The raucous laughter of the crowd dropped away, leaving only the two of them in a cocoon woven from grief and memory. Luke sensed the weight of her words. They were not merely a recollection, but a wellspring of moments that had given life its beauty. "What do you remember?" he urged, hoping to peel back the layers of sorrow encapsulating her heart. "Miguel and I danced beneath the stars," she began, her eyes drifting into the past. "He was my partner, my friend. We dreamed of a future, until he left this world," she shared, her voice heavy with the bittersweet echoes of love lost. Luke felt his own heart tighten. The bittersweet nature of her story resonated with his own experiences, the haunting absence of his mother, a void that glimmered with memories but ached with the loss. Fame had given him accolades, yet it had not filled the emptiness left in her wake. "I understand," he found himself admitting, the inadequate words slipping out. Their eyes locked, and in that gaze lay an unspoken bond forged through shared heartache. Luke could see the flicker of understanding igniting between them, a fragile connection that formed a bridge spanning their losses. "Tell me more," he urged gently, leaning closer. As Evelyn spoke, her memories a tapestry of laughter, gentle touches, and unfulfilled dreams, Luke's heart began to soften. The darkness he had been carrying felt lighter now, buoyed by the weight of her story and the realization that he was not alone. In sharing their pain, they illuminated the path toward healing, a melody echoing in the silence between them. Here, in this moment, they were connected despite the thrumming energy of the crowd. Luke felt hope stir, promising that perhaps in their embrace of shared memories, they could both find solace in the echoes of the heart. The concert had ended, and the vibrant noise of the crowd faded into the night, replaced by a tranquil silence heavy with the weight of shared memories. Luke had invited Evelyn backstage, feeling an instinctive need to learn more about this woman, whose pain echoed so closely to his own. The backstage was abuzz with staff packing up equipment and bandmates laughing amongst themselves. Yet here, in this moment, everything felt immaterial. "Thank you, dear," she replied, her voice steady yet filled with an unshakable sorrow. "I'm just lost in thought." Luke nodded, understanding that sometimes silence spoke louder than words. He too was lost, but in a different way. After years on the road, faces blurred together, songs melded into a continuous stream of melody. Yet here, sitting beside Evelyn, he felt an anchor, a connection to a past he had long run from. "What was he like?" he finally asked, needing to know more about the life behind the name Miguel. Evelyn's eyes brightened at the mention of her husband, and for a moment, her sorrow seemed lighter, as if she were sharing a secret only meant for kindred spirits. He had this laugh, the kind that filled the room and made every burden feel lighter. "We met when we were young, in a tiny dance hall where the music was lively and our dreams were even bigger." As she spoke, scenes unfolded in Luke's mind, images of graceful movements, joyous celebrations beneath flickering lights, and hearts full of hope. "We danced to the songs of our youth," she continued, her voice softening as memories danced across her features. "He would hold me close and spin me around as if nothing else mattered. Music was our love language. It was how we communicated our hopes, dreams, and even our fears. Luke couldn't help but picture it. Evelyn and Miguel twirling around beneath a constellation of stars, completely lost in each other, the world slipping away. He could almost hear the music playing in the background, a ballad of sweet memories quietly resonating in his heart. "What did you love most about him?" Luke asked, intrigued by the layers of Evelyn's reminiscence. "The way he listened," she responded, her voice steady yet laden with emotion. "He made me feel seen, like my words held weight. It was in those moments that I felt truly alive. We talked for hours, about everything and nothing, and I cherished the sound of his voice more than any song." Luke felt a pang of longing echo through his own heart. It mirrored his own mother singing to him, the way her melodies had swayed his heart to life. "I used to write songs for my mother," he shared, opening that space between them wider. "Her laughter would fill our little house, and every note was a celebration of her love." Evelyn nodded, her expression reflective as she considered his connection to music. "It's powerful, what we can express through song. It's timeless. It binds our memories and preserves emotions that words alone cannot describe." "Yes," Luke replied, suddenly aware of the weight of his profession. Here he was, a renowned artist, yet he felt the emptiness of fame pressing at his chest. "Sometimes it feels like I'm drowning beneath the expectations, the need to create, to keep performing. But what happens when the songs stop coming?" A moment of silence hung in the air, the rawness of their confessions creating an intimate bond between them. Evelyn leaned closer, her eyes shimmering with compassion. "You must never forget why you create in the first place. Music is not merely a career. It's a way of connecting with the world, giving voice to our experiences. Miguel taught me that what truly matters is the connection, the love we share through every note." Luke absorbed her words, feeling them wrap around his heart like a warm embrace. He thought back to the moments he had spent on stage, the nights when the songs poured out of him, fueled by the raw emotion of his own grief. He had always fought to find meaning in his music, but the deeper truth was that it was meant to connect, an intricate web of experiences woven by the human heart. "I want to write again," he confessed, the realization stirring something within him. "I want to write something that speaks to love and loss, something that can help others heal." Evelyn's smile brightened, a flicker of pride dancing in her eyes. "You must. The world needs your voice, your ability to share the beautiful and the painful. That is how you honor your mother and Miguel both." As their conversation deepened with each shared moment, Luke found his heart resonating with newfound hope, an undeniable truth that their stories were intertwined. They were two souls sharing the echo of love, a love that endured even beyond the heartache. "I think I know the song," he said softly, imagining the melody beginning to take shape in his mind, born of shared memories. "It'll bridge our stories and create something beautiful." In that moment, as their laughter mingled with remnants of sadness, a new chapter began to unfold, inviting both to immerse themselves in the power of their shared journeys. Despite the hardships, their paths were converging toward hope, toward healing through the echoes of their hearts intertwined. Days melded into weeks, and with the early morning light filtering through his windows, Luke sat on his porch, guitar resting across his lap. The tranquil countryside enveloped him, yet it buzzed with a melody waiting to be released. With every strum, he felt fragments of inspiration rise up, memories and emotions swirling around him, all tinted by Evelyn's stories about Miguel. The sunflower fields swayed gently in the golden light, their vibrant energy echoing the pulse within him. Luke's fingers brushed against the strings as he recalled the warmth of shared laughter with Evelyn. But as he played, uncertainty knocked at the door of his creativity. What if the song didn't capture their shared essence? What if it fell flat? Just as fear tightened its grip, a breeze rustled the leaves of the nearby oak, bringing with it the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers, a reminder that creation blossoms in the face of vulnerability. Later that week, Luke returned to the venue where he and Evelyn had bridged their worlds through storytelling. Backstage, amid the stirring excitement of staff setting up for the next show, he spotted her sitting, gazing thoughtfully into space. He approached her, unsure yet hopeful. "Hey," he greeted, a smile breaking the tension. "I've been working on the song we talked about." Evelyn's eyes sparked with eager anticipation. "Really, I can't wait to hear it." "Not yet," he chuckled nervously, shaking his head. I'm still trying to find the right words. Without hesitation, Evelyn reached out, taking his hand gently. Let's work on it together. Share what's in your heart, and we'll make it come alive. Luke felt the warmth of her encouragement ignite something within him. This wasn't just a creative endeavor, it was a monumental step toward vulnerability. Okay, let's talk about what we want to say. They shared cherished memories and the shadows of pain that came with them. What was your favorite moment with Miguel? Luke inquired, leaning toward her as if to draw the magic from her memories. Evelyn's eyes sparkled with nostalgia. One night we had a picnic under stars. Fireflies danced around us, and we laughed like nothing else mattered. Just him and me, lost in each other's dreams, she recalled, her voice resonating with warmth. Luke felt a familiar longing stir within him, memories of singing with his mother rising to the surface. We'd sing together during those long nights. Her laughter filled our home, turning mundane moments into something special. Evelyn nodded, her understanding evident. Those memories are sacred. They shape our experiences and our art. Our grief can give birth to beauty. In that moment, Luke realized that the weight of pain could be transformed. His heart quickened as he began to share his own stories of loss, the hollow moments that echoed after his mother died. They both understood that beneath the sorrow lay potential and connection. You're not alone, Evelyn said, her voice steady. Your pain is part of what makes you who you are. It can lead to healing through art. As night fell, they worked side by side, crafting lyrics that would bridge their experiences. Together, each word became a personal testament to love and loss, their journeys melding into a harmonious tapestry. I think we may have something, Luke finally said, enthusiasm bubbling in him. Let's share it. Evelyn nodded, a smile brightening her face. Yes, this deserves to be heard. Together, they stepped onto the stage, hearts racing with a mix of nerves and excitement. Luke grasped his guitar tightly, and as the first notes echoed through the venue, they felt an ethereal connection binding everything together. The song flowed effortlessly. They poured their hearts into the melody, filling it with the echoes of joyous memories entwined with sorrowful realizations. Each note resonated with emotion. The audience was enraptured, visibly moved as the lyrics spoke of shared experiences, dreams, love, and loss. With each performance, Luke discovered more than just the act of creating music. He was participating in a sacred ritual, a connection that flowed through him and into everyone around him. He could see Evelyn's presence inspiring others to seek solace in their own stories, to embrace their echoes of healing. Their song became a poignant anthem for those who had known heartache and love, a reminder of life's duality. And as the final chord lingered in the air, Luke realized that through shared journeys, they had not only honored their pasts, but had also carved a path forward, a hopeful melody that resonated long after the last note faded. As the weeks turned into months, Luke and Evelyn found themselves on tour together, their song reverberating across venues filled with eager souls seeking solace in music. The stage became their sanctuary, a place where anguish transformed into melodies and vulnerability turned into strength. Under the warm embrace of the spotlight, they continued to tell their stories, their voices blending harmoniously, capturing hearts each night. Luke noticed how the audience would lean in during the quieter moments, as if each whisper of a note held the power to heal wounds they dared not confront. It was magic, a shared experience that transcended individual grief. But beneath the glow of the stage lights, doubts began to creep back into Luke's heart. Memories of his mother haunted him again, mixed with the fear that this connection would evaporate into thin air, leaving him alone once more. He slipped between exhilaration and anxiety, thrilled by the applause yet paralyzed by lingering shadows. One quiet evening, after a particularly emotional performance, Luke and Evelyn strolled through a nearby park, framed by moonlight and the soft rustle of leaves. The serenity of the night offered a comforting contrast to the chaotic rhythms of their lives on tour. The stars twinkled above, an infinite expanse that mirrored his own tangled thoughts. "Evelyn," he said, pausing to gather his thoughts, "what if the music stops? What if we can't keep this going?" His voice cracked, betraying an underlying fear. Evelyn turned to him, a spark of understanding in her eyes. "You're afraid you'll lose this connection, isn't it?" "It's not just that," Luke admitted. "It's the fear of going back to silence, the absence of the music I once relied on." She placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "The music may ebb and flow, but the lessons you've learned, the love you've received from your audience that stays with you. You have to trust that even in silence, your heart is still full of songs waiting to emerge. Her words wrapped around him like a warm hug, but doubts still lingered. What if it's not enough? What if my songs lose their magic without this? Evelyn took a deep breath, her eyes glimmering with wisdom. Magic isn't confined to one moment. It's forged within the journey. Your songs won't lose their essence. They'll evolve just like you. The sincerity in her voice reminded Luke of the times they spent working through their pain together. He'd witnessed Evelyn transform, moving from a place of sorrow toward a brighter horizon. He now realized he had been growing too, albeit silently. Her resilience inspired him to confront his fears and see potential rebirth in moments of vulnerability. "Let's write another song," he suggested, determination filling his tone. "One that captures this growth, this journey we're on." Evelyn's smile illuminated her face. "I'd love that. Let's meet tomorrow and we can dive into our hearts once again." The next day, they convened in a cozy cafe, its rustic charm serving as the perfect backdrop for their creative flow. The aroma of fresh coffee wafted around them as they settled at a sun-drenched table. Luke could hear the distant murmur of conversations and the subtle clinks of cups, yet all he focused on was Evelyn and the spark of inspiration filling the air. "I want this song to be about rebirth," he began, scribbling notes in his journal. "About rising from the ashes, about embracing the unpredictability of life." Evelyn nodded. "Yes, life is filled with twists and turns, like a winding road. It leads us to unexpected places, but those paths shape us." They bounced ideas off each other, shaping lyrics from heartfelt conversations, weaving in metaphors of growth and resilience. With each word, they unearthed parts of themselves they hadn't yet expressed, vulnerabilities coming forth like blossoms emerging after a harsh winter. Hours flew by, and soon a new melody began to take shape. Luke's fingers danced across his guitar, the notes flowing effortlessly as Evelyn's voice filled the cafe, wrapping around his melody like a familiar embrace. "I believe in us," she sang softly, and it hung in the air like a promise. "Together we rise like the morning sun," Luke added, excised joy coursing through him. Diving deeper into their creative whirlpool, they shared personal anecdotes of struggle and triumph, infusing their new song with layers of experience. As they reached the final chorus, they both felt a sense of catharsis wash over them, what felt like a definitive release of all the pain they had carried. "Let's perform this tonight," Luke said, energy buzzing through him. "Something tells me it'll resonate with our audience too." Evelyn beamed. "Absolutely. It's time to share our rebirth with everyone." That evening, excitement pulsed through the venue as they stepped back onto the stage. The audience swelled with anticipation, eager to witness the duo that had captured their hearts. Luke felt the familiar knot of nerves tighten in his stomach, but this time it was accompanied by an unshakable determination. They launched into their new song, each note cascading into the next like a river of emotion. Luke's voice echoed the heartfelt narrative of transformation, of letting go of past fears and embracing new beginnings. The crowd swayed in unison, reciprocating the energy that radiated from them. In that instant, everything was clear. The connection, the magic, it was alive, breathing through their shared experiences. It was never about a single moment or a fleeting performance. It was about the journey, the intertwining of their stories that resonated through every individual present. As the final notes rang through the air, the audience erupted into applause, cheers rising around them like a wave. Luke locked eyes with Evelyn, and in that moment he felt a profound understanding settle into his heart. They were on this journey together, forever entwined in each other's stories. "Here's to our rebirth," Evelyn laughed, joy bubbling beneath the surface as triumph washed over them. "Here's to the music," Luke replied, his heart soaring with new possibilities. It was a promise that echoed through their lyrics, a vow that no matter the darkness, they would always find a melody to guide them, a way to embrace life with open hearts and renewed hope. The success of their new song ignited a spark not only within Luke and Evelyn, but also across their fan base. Following their electrifying performance, they began to receive messages and letters from listeners who felt moved by their shared journey of healing and rebirth. People reached out to tell them how their song had touched their hearts, resonating with personal experiences of loss, love, and resilience. One afternoon, They found themselves in a cozy diner, coffee cups steaming between them as they flipped through the latest stack of letters. Luke read one aloud, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "Your song gave me the courage to confront the grief I've pushed aside for so long. Thank you for helping me find my voice again." Evelyn nodded, her eyes glistening. "These stories are incredible. They remind us why we do this, why music matters. It's about creating connections." He leaned back in his chair, the weight of their impact settling in. "Do you ever wonder what comes next for us? This feels like a turning point." "Absolutely," Evelyn replied, her face lighting up. "We have the power to keep exploring, to share more of our journeys. Our music isn't just a chapter, it's a whole book waiting to be written." Discussion flowed freely over plates of fried eggs and crispy bacon, excitement brewing as they mapped their future. Ideas for new songs evolved into discussions about potential collaborations, and the prospect of helping foster connections through music energized them. They made a pact to visit various communities, to listen to people's stories, and to turn those experiences into songs that would resonate on a deeper level. As they set out on their next tour, they made a point to dedicate time between performances to engage with the places they visited. They hosted open mics, inviting locals to share their stories before each show. The warmth of those nights was palpable. It thickened the air around them, creating an atmosphere that felt sacred. One evening in a small town, they found themselves in the middle of an inspiring gathering, with locals sharing tales of heartbreak and hope. A young woman named Anna took the stage, her voice trembling as she shared how she had lost her father to illness just months before. The vulnerability in her words resonated deeply, awakening feelings long buried in Luke's heart. After her performance, he approached her. "Thank you for sharing that. It takes immense courage to speak about such profound loss. You're not alone in this journey." Anna smiled through tears, her relief evident. "I never thought I'd be able to talk about my dad's passing, let alone perform, but your music made me believe maybe I could help others through my story." Inspired, Luke glanced at Evelyn, who stood beside him, her eyes glistening with admiration for Anna's bravery. "This is exactly why we're here," he said, an idea blooming in his mind. "What if we wrote a song based on your story?" Anna's surprise was palpable. "Really? You'd want to do that?" "Absolutely," Evelyn affirmed, warmth radiating from her. "Songs give voice to emotions that often remain unspoken. Your father's story deserves to be told." In a flurry of excitement, they gathered in a quiet corner, Luke and Evelyn working with Anna to craft lyrics that encapsulated her love for her father and the strength she had found in her grief. The act of transforming Anna's pain into art felt transformative for all three of them, a community bond forged through shared experience. Meanwhile, excuses for avoiding vulnerability dissolved into the magic of collaboration. Luke realized that each connection illuminated a lesson. The stories carved paths through the darkness and led them to deeper understanding. This beautiful interplay of music and life only fueled his desire to share more. Weeks passed, and as they became more entrenched in their mission to make music with meaning, they also found time for their own creative process. With each passing performance, as their audience grew, so did their understanding of what it meant to share space with others' stories. Back home, one lazy afternoon, Luke and Evelyn nested in the sun-soaked living room of a farmhouse they rented together. The air was filled with a myriad of sounds, the birds chirping outside, the rattle of wind through branches, and the distant hum of a tractor moving across the fields. "Let's capture the essence of all these stories," Luke proposed, eager to draw inspiration from their experiences. "I think we should write a new album." Evelyn's eyes lit up. "Yes, it should reflect everything we've seen, everything we've learned together." They brainstormed ideas spilling out like the warm afternoon sun streaming through the window. The goal was not only to create an album, but one that represented hope and resilience. "Let's call it Echoes, like the echoes of our stories and the stories our audience shares," Luke suggested, excitement pulsing within him. "Echoes," Evelyn mused thoughtfully. "It's perfect. It signifies the journey we're on, the connection we're forging, and the healing that continues to resonate through music." As the album took shape, they spent countless nights creating, weaving melodies and experimenting with lyrics. Each song flowed into the next, and they infused the album with stories from the local communities they had visited, culminating in an emotional tapestry that reflected both their growth and the healing journeys of many. As the time drew near for its release, they stood backstage at one of their final concerts, surrounded by a buzz of anticipation. Luke could feel the energy surging through him. The stage was alive, pulsing with excitement. "Are we ready?" Evelyn questioned, her eyes searching his, reflecting their shared journey. "Ready as we'll ever be," Luke replied, grinning. As they stepped into the spotlight, the crowd erupted, cheers echoing in response to the palpable connection they had formed with them. They launched into the first song of the new album, Echoes, pouring their hearts into every note, embodying all the love and pain that had shaped their journey. In that moment, Luke felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He understood that music was not just about performance or accolades. It was about being part of something much larger, a bond that connected each heart in the room. Amidst the laughter, tears, and applause, Luke realized that this journey would last a lifetime. With Evelyn at his side, they discovered limitless paths before them, the promise of continued healing through the harmonies of human life. And as the echo of their music resonated in the hearts of those present, Luke knew their journey together was only just beginning. They had arrived in a place where each note and each story intertwined, offering hope and healing to all those willing to listen. As the echoes of their music lingered in the air, their journey took a turn neither Luke nor Evelyn had anticipated. Following the release of their album, Echoes, their schedules burst with back-to-back performances, interviews, and press events. With the rise in popularity, they were celebrated not only as musicians, but as advocates for open conversations about grief and healing through their music. However, amidst the euphoria lay the relentless demand of their newfound fame. The pressures of being in the spotlight grew heavier. Late nights turned to early mornings, and the intimate connection they shared began to fray under the weight of their schedule. Luke, often lost in his thoughts, found himself retreating into a shell, the worries of the world weighing upon him. Evelyn noticed the shift, her heart aching as she watched him navigate this pressure alone. During a brief moment in their dressing room before a packed show, she spoke up, hoping to bridge the growing distance. "Luke, are you okay?" Her voice was soft yet firm, filled with concern. He avoided her gaze, focusing on the way the stage lights flickered. "Yeah, I'm fine, just tired, I guess." "Tired or overwhelmed?" she pressed gently. "They're kind of the same thing." He finally met her eyes, the vulnerability exposed like a raw wound. "You don't have to carry this alone," Evelyn urged, an unyielding warmth radiating from her. "We're in this together. If you need a break, say something." Luke could feel the weight of her concern sifting into him, yet he hesitated. What if we let everyone down? What if we stop this momentum? "Momentum is important, but so is your well-being," Evelyn said softly. "It's okay to step back sometimes. Remember what we set out to do? We wanted to create a real connection, not just chase success." His heart sank with a gnawing fear. "But will they still love us if we slow down?" Evelyn shook her head, her gaze fierce with conviction. "Those who truly connect with us understand, and that connection is more important than any applause." He felt the weight lift slightly, as if a door had creaked open, allowing fresh air to pour in. "I just don't want to lose what we've built." "Neither do I," she reassured him. "Let's rediscover why we started this journey. We both need to feel that spark again." As the crowd began to cheers outside, Luke took a deep breath, settling the jitters that had been bubbling in his chest. He slowly nodded, feeling resolved. "Let's take a break after this tour. We can regroup and find our path again." With a determined spirit, they finished the night, pouring their souls into the performance, embracing the connection they shared with the audience. But as the applause faded and the spotlight dimmed, Luke felt a renewed resolve. In the days that followed, they crafted a plan, one that prioritized their well-being while honoring their channel for expression. They would focus on smaller shows in intimate venues, creating meaningful chances for connection instead of endless rounds of traditional tour stops. As they waded through this slower pace, they stumbled upon a quaint festival in a small town just outside their hometown. The idea of connecting with their roots excited them. Surrounded by familiar faces and friendly smiles, they regained that feeling of being grounded, as if coming home again. At the festival, Evelyn performed solo, her heartfelt rendition drawing tears from the crowd. Luke watched, amazed at the compelling power of their music, and saw glimpses of the smaller, perfect moments they had initially sought in their art. After her set, Evelyn returned to a beaming Luke, who pulled her into a warm embrace. "That was beautiful," he murmured, sincerity dripping from his voice. "You reminded me of who we are." "Thanks," she replied, her eyes sparkling. "You know, it's about the connection we create. Each note, each story, it's all intertwined." And just like that, they felt alive again. They decided to co-write a song that captured the essence of their journey home, echoing sentiments of what true connection felt like. Over coffee one morning, their ideas flowed together seamlessly, memories of their initial songwriting sessions echoing around them as they leaned into shared experiences. "We should write about finding our way back to each other," Luke suggested, "about the magic in returning to our roots." Evelyn's fingers danced on the table as she shook her head thoughtfully. "Yes, it's about embracing the whole journey, including the struggles and celebrating the moments that define us." The song took life in fragments, melodies weaving together effortlessly as they captured the joy of rediscovering their authenticity. Each note echoed not just their experiences, but the stories heard from fans, weaving tales like threads in a tapestry full of dreams and heartache. Their collaboration continued to deepen, each song a celebration of what it meant to find their way amidst the chaos of the world. The summer sun warmed their days, the autumn leaves brought vibrant shades, and with each passing moment, Luke discovered that vulnerability was not just an act of courage, it was also a pathway to resilience. As they prepared for their next performance after the festival, tension no longer filled the air. Instead, friendship flourished around them. Shared laughter and smiles exchanged between rehearsal breaks. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Evelyn asked one evening as they tuned their instruments in their makeshift practice space. "Not at all," Luke mused, reflecting on the twists and turns of their journey. "We started out simply seeking connection, and look at all this we've accomplished." Evelyn's eyes glimmered with warmth. "I think it's a reminder that every path is significant. This is our trajectory, ups and downs, echoes of our past leading us towards something beautiful." As the night air turned cooler, the stage lights illuminated their faces, casting an enchanting glow around them. They stepped onto the stage, feeling the energy shift electrically in the crowd as the audience awaited the gift of their songs once more. In that moment, Luke realized they had come full circle, back to the essence of who they were as individuals and as artists. And the road ahead glittered with limitless possibilities, bound together by the echoes of the music, their beginnings, and the connections that would forever guide them home. The concert hall buzzed with energy as Luke and Evelyn readied themselves for a performance that felt like a culmination of everything they had shared. The palpable excitement in the air ignited something deep within them. This was more than just a show. It was a celebration of healing, connection, and the transformative power of their music. With the first strum of the guitar, silence enveloped the crowd, a respectful hush that mirrored their own anticipation. They launched into Echoes, a melody that encapsulated their journey while weaving in the stories of fans who had inspired them. In that moment, Luke scanned the audience, catching glimpses of familiar faces, people whose experiences mirrored their own, whose stories had become part of their narrative. As the final note resonated and applause erupted, Luke felt fulfillment wash over him. He and Evelyn exchanged a knowing glance, a silent acknowledgement of their growth as both artists and individuals. What had begun as a search for connection had blossomed into something deeper, a bond that extended beyond the music. After the performance, as fans approached for autographs and hugs, Luke was overwhelmed by gratitude. Each interaction felt like a thread woven into the larger tapestry of their legacy. "Your music changed my life," one fan said, her voice choked with emotion. "Thank you for sharing that," Luke replied, sincerity touching his words. "Your stories inspire us more than you know." As he wrapped up the evening, he turned to Evelyn, who was packing up their equipment with a bright smile. "Did you see how much it meant to them?" "It's incredible." "It is, but I think we can do even more," she said, her eyes sparking with enthusiasm. "We should start workshops for people to share their stories through music." The idea hung in the air, electric with possibility. Luke nodded slowly, envisioning spaces where others could express themselves. "Yes, we can help people find their voice and create a sense of community." Months later, they launched their first series of workshops. Participants flocked to these intimate gatherings, eager to explore the intersection of music and storytelling. Luke watched as Evelyn led them, her warmth radiating, creating an environment of trust and support. Every workshop turned into an emotional journey, where individuals transformed their experiences into lyrical stories. Together, they uncovered hidden truths, uncovering strength and vulnerability that often lay dormant. One day after a particularly moving session, a participant approached Luke. "You've changed my life. I've rediscovered a part of myself I thought was lost." Her sincerity resonated deeply within him. "You did the work," he replied, humbled. "We just provided the space, but your courage was the real magic." As their movement grew, Luke began to realize that this was more than just an artistic endeavor. It was a legacy. Each session brought new connections, new stories, and fresh melodies that reflected the power of communal healing. With each note resonating in the hearts of their audience, Luke and Evelyn knew they had forged a path that transcended their individual experiences. They were no longer just musicians, they were catalysts for change, and their journey was now a shared one. As they took to the stage once more, ready to perform, Luke looked out at the sea of faces. The energy transcended personal achievement. It was an embodiment of resilience and unity. In that poignant moment, surrounded by the echoes of their collective stories, Luke understood that their music had become a bridge, connecting lives, fostering healing, and inspiring hope wherever the echoes carried. Their legacy would continue to thrive, resonating well beyond every note, every strum, and every heartfelt song.